All right, so it's 7 o'clock on Monday, June 20th, 2022, and I'll call the meeting to order. And at this time, I'm going to hand the chair over to Deputy Mayor Hendricks, as I'm not able to be present in the chamber this evening. And I'm going to take the opportunity to see how this all works on Zoom, like Councillor McKinnon has done for the last few meetings as well. It'll be interesting to be on the other side and being on the screen. So I'll hand it over to you, Marianne.
Thank you, Mayor Curtis. I guess our first thing we need to do is we have one addition to the agenda under the closed session. I need a motion that we accept an addition to the agenda under the closed session pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act as amended to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or board employees. And I need a motion. Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All in favor? And that's carried. And next, does anyone have any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move to the minutes of the previous meeting. Do we have a mover and seconder to approve the minutes? Councillor McKinnon and Mayor Smith, all in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have correspondence, and we have upcoming conferences. We have the Adelaide Metcalfe Council meeting on July 18th and the next one on August 8th. For recommended reading, we have the Sauble Bayfield Conservation Authority board minutes and the report from the Middlesex London Health Unit Board of Health meeting. Action required. We have a few resolutions. The first resolution is in support of Rail Safety Week. Okay, no excitement there. A resolution from the municipality of Chatham-Kent concerning retirement home funding. Councillor McKinnon. You're muted.
That's what Jack would like to do to me quite often, but I move to support.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Brody? Any more discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? None. Okay. So let's see. The next resolution is from the town of Aurora concerning the private members bill CARES law. No discussion. And the resolution from the town of Blue Mountains about voters list information. No cottage owners here. Okay. So with that, can I have a motion to record or to receive and file items 5 or CC1, 2, CC3, CC5 and CC6. Councillor McKinnon and Mayor Smith, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we shall move on to the staff reports. Our first one is the delegation of site plan control. And I'll ask our clerk to step forward.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. To members of council, this report is basically we've received a presentation through the County of Middlesex on Bill 109, More Homes for Everyone Act, and the changes specifically to the Planning Act. The municipalities are required to delegate the site plan control approval to staff as of July 1st. And this is a follow-up to this. So in discussion with county legal and a few other municipalities in the county, we discussed the best place to put the approval. As we do, it gets a little bit difficult as we do have contract planning and contract building. So county legal did recommend it sit within the municipality. And as the clerk does work a multidisciplinary approach, working with building and planning in this regard, we felt it was best placed at the clerk level. However, saying this, I would never make a decision on granting approval without consenting with the planning, CAO, and building staff. So it is pretty much business as usual from that standpoint. We're still relying on others to declare a complete application, those in different aspects. What I should mention, so this report is asking for just a simple resolution declaring that the clerk is delegated site plan control authority. The follow-up from this will be jointly throughout the county looking at revising the site plan control process. As you know, applicants will be able to claw back money if decisions aren't made. And it's a graduated kind of system there outlined in the report. So we'll be working to make a more efficient system. A lot of that will be put on the pre-consultation period. So we'll be looking at that and whether we apply fees at the pre-consult area as if they haven't even paid for an application at that point. So we do probably need to consider fees as we do have a consulting engineer that plays a large role in site plan control applications. So I don't know, Morgan, if you wanted to add on because you're a large part of this as well. But we are looking for a little bit revised resolution that I can read out in a second. But Morgan, if you want to add anything.
Not really, Mike. I think you really touched on the big ones. It's going to change our process to be more front-ended. So a lot of emphasis will be placed on pre-consultation with potential development. We'll have to look at our fees and charges bylaw to make sure that we're recovering costs. To your point, we do have a third-party engineer that does take on costs whenever we engage them. We used to be able to recover those costs through the application period and circulation of that same application. We'll also be looking at our site plan control bylaw to better articulate the pieces of information that we'll typically be asking for as part of a complete application. And then we'll just make sure to work with our county assigned planner to make sure that we are accepting complete applications, because that's when the clock starts ticking. Thank you.
Okay, so the slightly revised from the agenda resolution just makes it clear that this is legislatively required. So the recommended resolution reads as follows: that the Council for the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe does hereby delegate authority effective July 1st, 2022 to the clerk of the township to approve site plan applications as legislatively required through Bill 109, More Homes for Everyone Act 2022.
Do we have any more questions, or do we want to move ahead with the motion? Mayor Smith?
I'll move that one.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. From here, we move to Johnny for the asset management plan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through the council, the asset management plan was presented on June 6th to council by Peter from Watson and Associates. Staff provided council and the public an opportunity to digest the information, as the plan and presentation were fairly complex. As Peter from Watson's explained, we managed to complete all of Ontario Regulation 588-17 milestones under this plan. As outlined in the asset management plan, the township is experiencing a life cycle funding gap, which is consistent to many other municipalities in Ontario. This highlights that we are not putting enough annually into reserves to fund the future capital needs of the township. As staff continue to review the asset management plan, we were able to increase the accuracy of some of our pricing within the model, which has a positive financial impact on the plan. Since the asset management plan is a living document, staff will continue to monitor the plan now and into the future. By updating our pricing of HCB roads, our annual life cycle funding gap changed from $534,000 to $332,000. So the overall impact on the annual tax rate for the next 9 years is now only 2.6%. So that's down 0.5% from the 3.1 presented on June 6th. Again, this is for council to consider during the annual budget process and when presenting the reserve and reserve fund policy, which will be brought forward to council later this year. By adopting this plan, Adelaide Metcalfe will be put on the path to be financially self-sufficient for the township's future capital needs. The recommendation is to approve the report as presented. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? I was glad to hear the good news. 0.5% of a big amount is good for everybody. Well, if we have no more questions, could I have a mover and seconder to receive the asset management report and approve it? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Betty Ann. All in favor? And that's carried. And we'll leave you on the floor for the operating budget.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through the council, we have in front of us the May 2022 operating budget to actual report. Overall, spending and revenue collection to date looks to be on pace with the approved budget. Just note the capital budget actual will be presented at the end of Q2, so will be brought to council next month on those capital projects. But for this report, the recommendation is to receive. We have in front of us the May 2022 operating. The recommendation is to receive the report as presented, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments? Okay, is that a motion to accept? Yeah, Councillor Brody, a seconder. Mayor Smith, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, and we will call the fire chief.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hendricks, through you to council. We've got a bit of a PowerPoint presentation we put together. Just a bit of an update on situation. We've since January 1st to last few days, we've had a few more calls since the 16th. We've had 31 call outs, 12 of them MVCs, and 5 of those were with extrication of patients. And unfortunately, we did have 1 fatality on the 402. We've had 2 medical calls, one with a defib situation using our equipment there, 1 natural gas leak with evacuation of a few businesses and nearby motel. And we had a small shed fire, 6 grass or field fires. And we've had 4 calls canceled en route. That's sometimes what happens when I get there on scene and we're not needed. I can turn the trucks around quick. And we've had 4 false alarms, usually malfunctions of alarms and things. So with the next slide, we've just brought on 5 new recruits, and all 5 of them have their minimum qualifications. They're NFPA 1001, and 3 of them have 15 years of experience between the 3 of them, and at other departments. And we are in the process of promoting 3 of our current firefighters to captains with combined 45 years of dedication at our hall. And they will be needed to be trained and certified to their Fire Officer 1 NFPA 1021. Next slide, out with the old and in with the new. There's, as council knows, our old rescue left, I believe it was January, and our new truck came in December. There was a few delays, but like everything else, it lasted a little while. The lettering finally came in and mobile radio was installed, and it's up and running, and it's been quite busy. So it's a great unit for us. So, and as we're every day is a training day, I like to say, at the fire hall. It's never a dull moment. Second and fourth Mondays of the month is our regular training meeting nights. And with the third Monday is our regular truck check nights, just to make sure the equipment is in place and everything's up to snuff. And we've been focusing on a lot of extrication training. It seems that to be where we're needed the most in our community. We've recently had 6 calls in 48 hours, and 3 being with MVCs. The group of dedicated firefighters, some of the last few calls, they've made me very proud. The way they've dealt with the situations. Some of the calls we've had lately have involved young children, and it can be pretty difficult for us. And but it always helps when it's a positive outcome from that. And moving on from that, mental health has always been on my radar of our firefighters. We have a quite open group. We always able to chat amongst ourselves, and they know there is help if they ever have issues with mental health issues. And actually, one of our new recruits has a critical incident stress management training. So, and just a slide of our some of the auto X training we've been doing. And next slide is we've did some relay pumping. You see the larger hose is supplying our #1 engine up further in the picture. So the tanker or engine 2 is supplying the line. So it's more for a large barn fires, long laneways we can supply water to. Something we've been practicing. And generally we're using our practice in our ladder training as well. So it's something we keep up on. Next slide. And in the community, we've been, we went to door, a bunch of, I think we went to 58 homes in our community, just doing smoke alarm checks, and it was well received by everyone. It was a good reminder. We recently had our boot toll in Kerwood. It was probably our best year for raising money, because we raised over $2,200 for Muscular Dystrophy Canada. And we've been doing that for 25 years now. So it was a bit of an anniversary for us. And another anniversary of ours is our 25th fish fry being held this August 27th. And recently, I'm sure everybody heard about the act of violence against a young friend of mine, Brad Ward, in Strathroy. I reached out to Strathroy Fire Department and Strathroy Caradoc Police, and within 2 phone calls, we had 50 vehicles in a show of support, little parade past Brad Ward's house, and it was a great thing to see, and it brought the community close together. And the next slide is a good-looking group of guys there. There's our That was actually at our retirement party we had for Chief Fair Nordoff. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or anything like that.
Okay. Any, Mayor Smith?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hendricks. Through you to the fire chief, just a couple things. I'm really happy to see that we're able to fill the 5 vacant positions for the fire department, and also very happy to see that advertised for everybody to be able to apply for those positions. And it's great to see that you had a lot of. I heard that you had a lot of resumes for those positions to be filled. The other thing is just to speak to the slide about in the community that. Great to see those numbers for the boot toll. And just the one thing that I wanted to mention, I'm happy that you put it in there, was the support that you had and those calls that you made for the support for Brad Ward. I think that's a great thing that you did, and I'm very pleased that you initiated that and in that circumstance. So I just want to say thank you for that and all the other hard work that yourself and the firefighters do.
Said well. Betty Ann?
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor Hendricks, to Dan, the fire chief. Dan, of those positions, how many were junior firefighters?
One of the positions was a junior firefighter. He was actually going to Lambton College and was getting his 1001 qualifications, and he's actually going back this fall for his fire science part of the program too. So yeah.
Perfect. So our complement, our number is what, 26, is it, Dan?
27 now, including
27. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Any more? Well, I'll just echo the mayor's comments and ask for a motion to receive the fire report, the fire chief's report. Councillor Brody and Councillor McKinnon, all in favor. And that's approved. Okay, and my iPad turned off. Okay. Oh, it's that time. It's time for the closed session. So, motion that council adjourn to closed session at 7:23 PM pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act as amended to discuss 2 matters, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, which is the servicing agreement between Adelaide Metcalfe and Strathroy Caradoc, and also personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. And Councillor McKinnon moves, and a seconder. Councillor Brody, all in favor? And that's carried.